Hey there, I'm Michael, a 32-year-old marketing executive with big dreams and an even bigger coffee addiction. Before I dive into my story, do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming. Let me set the stage for you. I've been grinding in the marketing world for years, always chasing that next big break. And guess what? It finally happened. I landed the VP of Marketing gig at AP Innovations, a Fortune 500 company. Total game changer, right? But here's the twist. I decided to keep it under wraps for a bit, especially from my family. Why? Well, let's just say family dynamics can get complicated. There's my brother Tom, the peacekeeper, and then there's Rachel, my sister-in-law. Oh boy, where do I even begin with Rachel? Still chasing that promotion, Michael? She'd say at family gatherings, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. You know, not everyone can be as successful as me. It's okay to settle. Rachel's a real piece of work, always talking down to me, like her middle management position at some tech firm makes her the queen of Silicon Valley. Last Sunday, we had our usual family dinner. I was dying to share my news, but I held back, wanting to savor the moment. Pass the potatoes, Michael, Rachel said, not even looking at me. So Tom and I are thinking of buying a vacation home. My big project at work is wrapping up and my boss practically begged me to take some time off. I passed the potatoes, biting my tongue. That's great, Rachel. Sounds like things are going well at work. Oh, they are, she preened. Not that you understand, of course. Still stuck in that entry-level position, aren't you? I saw Tom wince, but Rachel was on a roll. I'm just saying, Michael, maybe it's time to consider a career change. Not everyone's cut out for the corporate world. I took a deep breath, reminding myself of the sweet karma heading her way. Thanks for the advice, Rachel. I'll keep that in mind. You should, she nodded, oblivious to the sarcasm. You know I could put in a good word for you at my company. We always need people in the mailroom. The table fell silent. Even my parents looked uncomfortable. That's thoughtful of you, I managed, stabbing a piece of broccoli with more force than necessary. As dinner dragged on, Rachel dominated the conversation with tales of her work triumphs and thinly veiled jabs at my career. All the while, I sat there, the secret of my new position burning a hole in my pocket. Later, as I helped Mom with the dishes, she gave me a sympathetic look. Don't let Rachel get to you, honey. Your time will come. If only she knew. I smiled, thinking about my first day at Apex tomorrow. Thanks, Mom. I have a feeling things are about to change. As I drove home that night, I couldn't help but grin. Rachel had no idea what was coming. Sometimes the best revenge is served cold, or in this case, with a piping hot cup of karma. Monday morning rolled around, and man, was I pumped. I picked out my best suit, a sleek charcoal gray number that cost more than my first car. Polished shoes, crisp white shirt, power tie. I looked like $1,000,000 and felt like it too. I strolled into the Apex Innovation lobby at 7:30 a.m. sharp, wanting to get a feel for the place before the day officially started. The security guard nodded at me, clearly not realizing I was the new big shot. ID, please, he said, bored. I flashed my temporary badge. Michael Thompson, new VP of Marketing. His eyes widened. Oh, welcome aboard, sir. Let me just. But before he could finish, a whirlwind of designer perfume and clattering heels burst through the revolving door. I'm late. I turned and time seemed to slow down. There was Rachel, hair flying, clutching a massive cup of coffee and a stack of folders. Our eyes met for a split second, and I saw the panic on her face as she realized she was about to crash into someone. Wham! Hot coffee exploded all over my chest and arms. The folders went flying, papers scattering across the polished floor. Oh, for crying out loud, Rachel screeched, not even looking at me. Watch where you're going, you idiot. I stood there, dripping and stunned. Excuse me? Rachel finally looked up, her face a mask of irritation. She looked at me like I was a stranger in my sharp suit, fresh haircut, and clean-shaven face. Are you deaf? She snapped, her tone sharp. I said watch where you're going. Do you have any idea how important this meeting is? And now look at me. I glanced at her outfit. Of course, not a drop of coffee had touched her. I think I got the worst of it, I replied, gesturing to my ruined suit. Rachel rolled her eyes. Oh, please. Like you can't just grab another off-the-rack suit from some discount store. This blouse is designer. My jaw clenched. Same old Rachel, always looking down on everyone. I'm so sorry, I said, my voice dripping with sarcasm. How can I ever make it up to you? Should I fetch you another coffee? Shine your shoes, perhaps? Rachel's eyes narrowed. Listen here, you. Miss Clark. A voice rang out across the lobby. The meeting's about to start. Rachel's head whipped around. Coming, she turned back to me, jabbing a finger into my chest. This isn't over. I'll be reporting this to HR. As she stormed off, I called after her, looking forward to it. The security guard approached, looking mortified. Mr. Thompson, I am so sorry. Let me call someone to help you clean up. I waved him off. It's fine. I've got a spare shirt in my car. Just point me to the nearest bathroom. As I cleaned myself up in the men's room, my mind was reeling. Rachel worked here at Apex. How had I not known this? I looked at myself in the mirror, coffee stains spreading across my expensive suit. This was not how I imagined starting my first day. But then a slow smile spread across my face. Rachel had no idea who I was. No idea that her little temper tantrum had been directed at her new boss. Oh, this was going to be interesting. I straightened my tie, took a deep breath, and headed out to face my first day as VP of Marketing. Rachel wanted to play hardball. Game on, sister-in-law, game on. After changing into my spare shirt, I made my way to the top floor for the company-wide meeting. The CEO, James Anderson, greeted me warmly. Everyone, I'd like to introduce our new VP of Marketing, Michael Thompson. The room erupted in applause. As I scanned the faces, I spotted Rachel in the back, her jaw practically on the floor. Our eyes locked, and I saw the moment of horrified recognition. I kept my cool, addressing the room. Thank you all. I'm excited to join the Apex team and take our marketing efforts to new heights. Throughout my speech, I could feel Rachel's panicked stare. As soon as the meeting ended, she bolted for the door, but I wasn't done yet. Rachel Clark, I called out. Could you stay behind for a moment? The color drained from her face as she turned back. Of course, sir. Once everyone else had left, Rachel launched into damage control mode. Michael, I am so sorry about earlier. I had no idea it was you. If I'd known. I held up a hand. Miss Clark, let's keep things professional. I understand you have an important project you're working on. She nodded, flustered. Yes, the Zephyr campaign. It's going well. Excellent. I'll need a full report on my desk by the end of the day. And Miss Clark, in the future, please be more careful with your coffee. As Rachel scurried out, I couldn't help but remember all the times she belittled me at family gatherings, the snide comments about my career, the condescending advice. It was all coming back to bite her. Throughout the day, I overheard whispers about the lobby incident, phrases like Rachel's at it again, and poor new guy floated around. It seems Rachel's behavior wasn't anything new. During lunch, I struck up a conversation with Tina from HR. So, Tina, how long has Rachel Clark been with the company? Tina's expression soured. About 3 years. Why do you ask? I shrugged, just getting to know the team. Any insights? Tina hesitated, then leaned in. Off the record, she's difficult. We've had complaints about her attitude, but she always manages to smooth things over with upper management. Interesting. I pressed further. What about her work performance? Mixed bag, Tina said. She talks a big game, but her campaigns often underperform. The Zephyr project she's leading now. It's already behind schedule and over budget. This was eye-opening. Rachel had always bragged about her work prowess, but it seemed reality was quite different. Later that afternoon, I discreetly reviewed Rachel's personnel file. Multiple warnings for unprofessional behavior, mediocre performance reviews, and even a formal complaint from a junior employee she'd reduced to tears. As I sat in my new office, processing all this information, there was a timid knock at the door. Rachel entered, clutching a folder. Here's the Zephyr report you asked for, Rachel said, her usual bravado nowhere to be seen. I took the folder from her. Thank you, Miss Clark. I'll review it and get back to you. She lingered, clearly wanting to say more. Finally, she blurted out, Michael, about what happened this morning and, well, everything. Can we just start over? I looked at her, remembering years of put-downs and condescension. Miss Clark, I believe in maintaining a professional environment. Your past behavior and current work performance will be evaluated objectively. Is that clear? Rachel nodded, defeated. Yes, sir. As she left, I couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction. The tables had turned, and Rachel was finally facing the consequences of her actions. But this was just the beginning. I had a job to do, and I intended to do it well. Personal feelings aside, Rachel's fate at Apex would be determined by her own actions, and something told me she was in for a rude awakening. As the weeks passed, I dove headfirst into my new role. The Zephyr campaign was a mess, and I knew a thorough review was necessary. I called a meeting with the marketing team, including Rachel. All right, team, I began. We need to reassess the Zephyr project. Rachel, walk us through your strategy. Rachel stumbled through her presentation, full of vague promises and inflated projections. It was clear she was out of her depth. After the meeting, I pulled her aside. Rachel, I'm initiating a formal review of your work performance and conduct. Her face paled. Michael, please, can we talk about this? I'm sorry for everything. I cut her off. It's Mr. Thompson at work, Miss Clark. This isn't personal. It's about the company's success. As the HR investigation unfolded, a clear pattern emerged: bullying junior employees, taking credit for others' work, manipulating data to make her campaigns look better than they were. It was worse than I'd imagined. Finally, the day of reckoning arrived. Calling Rachel into my office was one of the hardest things I had ever done. Despite everything, she was still family. Rachel, based on the review of your work and conduct, Apex has decided to terminate your employment effective immediately. She broke down, alternating between begging and threatening. You can't do this. I'll tell everyone how you're abusing your power. Tom will never forgive you. I remained calm. Rachel, this decision is based on documented evidence of misconduct and poor performance. It has nothing to do with our personal relationship. Security escorted her out, and I slumped in my chair, emotionally drained. Months passed, and Apex's marketing department flourished under my leadership. The Zephyr campaign, restructured and reimagined, was a massive success. As for Rachel, last I heard, she was struggling to find work, her reputation in tatters. Tom and she were in counseling, trying to salvage their marriage. Sitting in my office, looking out over the city, I couldn't help but smile. Life had a funny way of balancing the scales. I faced adversity, stood my ground, and come out stronger. And in the end, that was the sweetest victory of all. The story of Michael and Rachel has come to an end. Now I have a question for you. If you were in Michael's position, would you have fired Rachel or given her another chance despite her history of misconduct? How would you balance professional responsibilities with family ties in such a situation? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspective could spark an interesting discussion about workplace ethics and family dynamics. If you enjoyed this story and want more content like this, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us create more engaging stories that explore complex human situations. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to hearing your views.